It's Deprogram, the podcast where we try to convince you to get into a band. Listen, it's as easy as this. We've done all the work for you. Literally, all you have to do is push play. Today's band is The Promise Ring, and my name is Justin. And joining me, because this is, and first I do apologize to both of my panelists today, but this is the fifth and final episode of the very first John F. Sessions. So joining us, John, how are you doing?
Hey, Justin, how are you? Thanks for having me back, man. I got to say, and like before we get into it, I want to say thanks to everyone who joined in on the other ones that we've been doing the last few weeks. It's all been so much fun for me. I absolutely love doing these. So thank you for doing this and letting me be a part of it.
I think it went really well too. Like there was no bloody episodes, and then the after the fact.
We'll see how this one goes.
But I mean, the after the fact actually, it had all of us on it, and it actually went really well. Great. So
yeah, almost an hour of conversation. It went really well,
and pretty seamlessly.
You did mention the first time, so I'm hoping that there will be a second and a third and a fourth and so on as we get into the next year. So yeah, thank you. It's been so much fun.
And I mean, you're bringing a lot of bands to the table that I've never heard of, including today's band, and joining us. And I do have to apologize to Ryan, because Ryan, the only other time you were here was Alice in Chains, and it didn't go as we had hoped, we'll say.
That one was a bit of a disaster.
Not on our fault.
Was that your first one with that issue too?
I think. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it was.
I think it was.
That was the one where it all came crashing down. Like it was the work. I think I had an issue on the PJ Harvey episode, but it was like at the end, so it didn't really like present itself. And then that episode was where it all came crashing down. And then like Filter the week after, and then like Morphine a couple weeks later, it was like, oh my God. And that's why we stopped doing Skype episodes for a while.
Yeah, that was rough, but we did come up with a pretty great list for Alice in Chains.
I thought so too. And I'm happy to finally have you back. And so first, John, The Promise Ring. Okay, so and it was one of the initial four bands that you brought to the table for specifically for the John F. Sessions. And again, I bring this back up. This was a band I had never heard of. So walk me through, number one, why was The Promise Ring so important that it had to be part of your first full four episode sesh? And what do they mean to you?
Yeah, so coming off of before this little sessions, the last one we did was the Weaker Thans, and that was a band that I was really emotionally invested in. So when you proposed this to me, I wanted to pick bands that I wasn't as emotionally connected to, so it wouldn't be so like, what's the word, like terrible for me,
right?
But the Rentals, the Shins, Bad Religion, Alkaline Trio. Alkaline Trio is probably the one that I was most invested in, but that was a long time ago. And that one went really well, so I didn't have any problems with that one. But this is one that, I've been a fan for them for a long time. I remember when they were around, I got to see them a couple of times back in the 90s. They kind of have, again, I feel like I say this all the time, but an interesting career arc where they started out like, the singer was in Captain Jazz, which people don't know Captain Jazz, like nobody has ever heard of them, but one of those like crazy spaz, emo, jazz, punk rock bands from the mid 90s, kind of came out of that. And they started out as like a little more hardcore influences, like used to play with hardcore bands, but kind of like as their career, they got more and more poppy and like kind of changed their sound a little bit. But the album Nothing Feels Good is the one that always hit with me. That's my favorite album. There's the bass playing on that album is unbelievable. So if you're a bass player or if you're into bass, like check out that album because it's fantastic.
So when you see The Promise Ring up there, Ryan, what made you go, yeah, I need in on this. I need to talk about this band specifically?
So I kind of found out about them probably when I was in high school. I first heard of American football. And then I went down the rabbit hole of finding each band member's previous bands, like you mentioned, Captain Jazz, the Owls, and
Vermont and Maritime. There's so many side projects and later bands, and yeah.
Joan of Arc, yep. And I dove in, and I really liked their sound. Like you mentioned before, that was one of the things I was going to touch on. Nothing Feels Good is pretty close to a perfect album for me. I love the bass playing on it, and which kind of sucks is that the bass player left right after the album too.
Right.
Which, I mean, I still think they have great music afterwards, but yeah, that album is up there. One of my favorites of all time. And I also love that he plays left-handed, and I do too. So
lefties unite. Well, so for me, again, like this is completely and totally new. Like I had never heard of this band. I'd never heard a single song, never had seen this name anywhere. So
and that's fun for me too, is like I get to see it through you, who's never heard of a lot of these bands. So I get to kind of rediscover it through you, because I did pick bands that I figured you might not have heard of. So I think that makes it a little more interesting if you come into it really fresh. So that was a big part of it for me too, I think.
Yeah, like zero preconceived notions. Absolutely. And, you know, one thing, like we'll talk about like album career arcs, and we'll talk about, you know, putting the list together. But like, you know, when I push play on this, I'm like, oh, okay. Like this is going to sound denigrating, but I assure you it's not. I deal with a lot of quote unquote local music. I prefer to call it independent, but it sounds like a band that I could hear around here, which to me is a great thing. I love my local music scene, but I could see where somebody might take that as a swing, like as the production value, but like immediately come the second album, like there's a little bit of polish coming to it, and it's like, oh, okay, so this is what they're doing. So with that, why don't you talk to me about what putting your 20 together was like, John?
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, they came out of that kind of 90s DIY hardcore emo scene. So I can there were a ton of bands that sounded like this in towns all over, and I think they were from Milwaukee, so it kind of has that Midwestern influence a little bit. For my list, I love each album in its own way individually for different reasons. So I wanted to try to keep it equally, but I kept leaning on the earlier stuff, because that's the stuff that I remember from when I was in high school and college and getting into for the first time. So that definitely struck a chord with me. Going back and listening to it, the earlier stuff just hits you in a different place. But like I wish I could have had 40 songs, because like I love the later stuff. Even when they kind of changed their sound a little bit, it's still great. So it was tough for me. Like I probably had close to 40 the first time, and had to really, even today, I was going back and listening to some stuff again and changing some stuff around.
All right. So Ryan, what was it like for you? You're putting your 20 together.
At first, I think I started off with about 26 songs right off the bat. And I tried to balance it out between all albums, because I do think some of their later albums have some great songs on them, but you can tell, starting from the beginning to end, a drastic change in their sound. But yeah, so I started with about the 26, but those last 6 were tough. I was pretty much changing it up right until the end here. But I'm pretty happy with the 20 that I got right now. So
I'm interested to see where I fell, because or as far as balancing it out with you, because I kept coming into, all right, so this is what I really like, and using my new ear to the band, I feel like the early stuff, like the early stuff, like first record early stuff, is something that felt like, okay, that's a treat for you to go backwards with. And then the last record, it's great, but it's something that you kind of grow up with the band with. Like those middle 3, those were the jam, and they have this nice polish to them, and the songs are well written, and there's like this great guitar energy throughout. And like you guys mentioned, the bass playing, they're a really good unit. And I found that actually, now that I look at it, it does look like all the middle stuff is pretty well represented. It's pretty balanced out. So we'll see. I think I think I had 29 on my first pass. And that was because, like I said, I kept going because I think I did initially pull like a lot from the first album. But then as I get to the second album, I'm like, okay, well, let's do this. And you guys will see what it turns out to be. I'm talking it up like it's like my list is something.
We should clarify the first album is 30 Degrees Everywhere. The second album is Nothing Feels Good. The Horse Latitudes, which we did cover, is like an EP compilation collection. So that's not a full length album. And then there were a couple other EPs and stuff that we sprinkled in. But those first two, 30 Degrees and Nothing Feels Good, they were kind of the beginning of that. They had kind of an aesthetic, like they were really into the art and like making it very stark and like with the colors, and it became very influential in that scene. Like they were on Jade Tree, which had a lot of great bands, and they kind of fit in with that sound. Like the art direction and the music all kind of works together to make a complete package. It's really great.
I'm glad you brought up the art because you just made me change where I'm starting. You made me change my gameplay, just so you know. So I got something completely different that I'm going to start with. But the name of the game is Deprogrammed. We've each combed through, what was it, 3 albums, a compilation, and an EP, which Electric Pink, good call adding that at the last second, Ryan. I really enjoyed it.
We need that one on there.
Yeah, that's great.
And it took all of 17 minutes to listen to. So I was like, yeah, let's get that in there. But we've each combed out 20 different songs that we're now going to mash against each other in an attempt to create a top 10 starter kit for The Promise Ring, in case, like me, you've never heard of them. And listen to this 10, you'll dig them. And for as small as a discography, I am worried that John finally gets his wish and we get into NTP. It could happen. You'll have to wait and see. All right, so
yeah, I think it's going to depend on where you fall. And I think if because like each album is great in its own way, but if you tend more towards the later stuff, like we said, Ryan and I maybe tend more towards then we could be in trouble. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm very curious to hear, someone who hasn't heard this band before. I'm curious to see what direction you go in. I'm pretty excited for that.
So, like I said, I made the change where I was going to start by what John was talking about with art, and I feel like they didn't paint a prettier picture on that first record. It's even in the name, a picture postcard.
I have it.
Oh yeah. 100%
All right.
on that one.
It's a classic. Like the melody in that one is amazing. It's one of my favorite songs of theirs.
It just paints this great picture in my head. I mean, to me, I think of a diner in like New York City or New Jersey. I know that's probably not what they're painting, but that's what it's putting me there. And I don't know. It makes me feel like I'm there. Like it's great. That's the best thing I can say about it. It's just great.
Yeah, a great build to the end of the song too, starting off low key and then building it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a theme too. Like a lot of their music puts you in a really good mood. And this song, when that guitar kicks in, the little bouncy part, it puts a smile on your face every time.
Absolutely. All right, John, it is your turn, sir.
All right, let's stay early and let's go East Texas Avenue, one of the heavier ones.
Apparently, I don't have that.
That was my last cut. About 10 minutes before we started.
Oh man.
It does have one of their more hardcore-ish like breakdowns where it really gets heavy, and they don't do that a lot, but I really like that song. So
I wonder if
now we got to hope for NTP so that one can come back.
I'm wondering if that might be why I left it out. Maybe it just hit me in the face a little too hard. All right, Ryan?
I'm going to go with Red and Blue Jeans.
I know I have it, but where is it? I know I have it.
I don't have that one. It was a tough cut for me, but I had to cut some off that album, and that ended up being one of them.
There it is. Ooh. In the pink. All right. You know what? Dummy Justin is not updating the whole gimmick over there with the green screen. Try to make it... Oh, wrong one. Well, yeah. And actually, I should point out also that that's one of the ones that the listeners brought. I was surprised at how many listener responses we got for this band. Like I said, considering it's a band that I'd never even heard of.
I think it's too with these kind of bands that were in the underground. If people like them, they really like them. So if people see the name, they're going to say something.
And I mean, I hope Adam listens to this, but I've been dying to get Adam on the show. And I'm like, dude, if I would have known you liked this band so much, we would have loved to have had you here. Jeez. But we'll see if he actually listens. I am trying to get him in. So, all right. You guys should be able to finally see those first. That's one round, and we've got one in each column. All right, so I'm going to go back to my my initial number one. I really liked Very Emergency, like a lot. And I ended up going, there was another one that I was leaning towards my number one initially, but then I heard this lyric, losing my voice, talking to you about talking to you, living around.
I have it on my list.
I do not.
All right, well, it goes to the convo. I could not get over that lyric. And I loved how, like, the song kind of does like a bouncy thing that there's another song. The other song made my list, but I was like, yeah, I don't want to lead with that one anymore. I want to lead with this one because of that lyric. But all right, into the conversation it goes. And John.
All right, let's stay on that same album and go a song about a place that's near and dear to my heart, the Deep South.
I got it.
I have it as well.
Hey!
Great.
Into the unanimous decisions. Indeed. Oh, come on, man. You'd think I would be faster at this thing than I am. All right. We got two. All right, Ryan?
I'll stay on Very Emergency and go with Happiness is All the Rage.
Yep, I got it.
I do not.
That was the one I was going to go with, my number one.
Great album opener.
It is. Yeah. It is a top-notch open. I think what knocked it down out of my lead position was I was wondering if it was too poppy. But
you see it's never too poppy with this band. We can't wonder that with the Promise Ring, because the answer is always yes.
Fair enough.
That's what I like about that album so much too.
Yeah.
Great poppy hooks.
Yeah, and I love the way that bounces. I love that open, like you said, it's such a great energy to open the album. So yeah, I definitely had that. All right, so it comes back to me. All right, you know what? I'm gonna start taking some wild swings here because no, you know what? No, I'm not. Not yet. Not yet. He says. I'm gonna trot some of this Nothing Feels Good off and see if I can get any of this in. How about, Is This Thing On?
Yep.
Oh, unanimous. Wowzers.
Another great opener.
Yep.
Undeniable. Yeah.
Yep. And, you know, I guess with that energy, like, there's something about their energy that's just absolutely undeniable. Especially now that, yeah. All right. Just looking at it, we got 3 unanimous, 3 conversation, and only 1 in the trash. All right, John.
Well, let's stick with the question mark song titles and go. Why Did We Ever Meet?
I got it.
So do I.
Oh,
nice.
This might be a quick one.
That might be their best song.
Interesting. I'd have to re-listen to I mean, clearly it was good enough to make my list.
It has a weird video too. They did videos for a couple of these songs, and they're all very strange.
They strike me as, because again, you mentioned, I always like when a band can do like a polished pop sound, but still manage to be weirdos. Like I don't know. There's something I really, really enjoy about that contrast. So may have to check that out. All right, Ryan.
I'm gonna go off the Electric Pink EP and go with "Make Me a Mixtape."
Yep.
Yeah, I added it on at the last minute. It's so great. Any song that mentions Husker Du is okay in my book.
So catchy. It gets stuck in my head all the time.
Sorry, I am ill.
And it's just good rules for making a mixtape.
Yeah.
It's true.
Don't forget Husker Du. Wow. Okay. And just like that, we're halfway there. We worried about this with the rentals, but we might get there. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and break this. I'm gonna go into Woodwater, and again, I think Woodwater is a great record. Is it one that I'm going to point to try to get somebody into the band initially? No, but there's plenty of stuff.
It depends on their taste, you know. Some
Also
people
true.
that could be their favorite album of theirs.
Also true, but there's plenty of great tunes there, and I found this one to be one. Get on the Floor.
Nope.
Don't freak out, but I do not have that one.
That's okay. I'm freaking out, man.
Yeah, Woodwater's tough because when I had first heard it initially, I did not like it at all.
Same.
But I came back to it a few times, and especially this time listening through, and there are definitely some great songs on there, but you can't go in expecting, Nothing Feels Good or 30 Degrees. It's just a completely different type of sound, but there are some great songs on there.
No, what's funny is again, all of this was fresh to me, all of it. And so when I get to Woodwater, even I felt that, ooh, this isn't the Promise Ring that I've grown to love already.
What did you think about that? Because it's a pretty drastic change
It's
in
drastic.
their sound.
And isn't there like a long pause in between Woodwater and the previous record? Maybe I was looking at the
I
dates
think
wrong.
Very Emergency was 1999 and Woodwater's 2002.
Okay, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, so maybe I was just thinking that 2002 was a while ago from now, but regardless, it felt very drastic, and it took me a second to lull into them. Like a lot of the songs got through just because I was like, I'm being unfair to this record. If I just cut this, I need to at least give it a second listen. But even on my second listen, great tune, but it was easy to cut from Woodwater just because it didn't sound like the rest. So, all right, John.
All right, well let's go back to the beginning. This one's for anyone who's drinking cherry Coke. Let's do Red Paint.
Nope.
Okay.
All right.
Not fans of cherry Coke. All right.
I've gone and done it. I went out and got purposefully a miss, and now here we are. All right, Ryan.
Forget Me.
I have it.
I do not, but the list.
That was another last minute ad on mine. It came up in the shuffle, and I was like, "Oh, this song's too good not to leave in."
I love a good closing song on an album too.
That's something like a lot of these bands that we've done for the John F sessions. I can't wait to go back and listen to because it's oftentimes easy to tell the first song on the record if I'm listening to all of them all at once, but it's really really hard to tell where the last song is sometimes. And I can't wait to listen to these albums like on their own so I can see like how they play on their own without the other albums, cuz I'd like to hear how they do their last songs a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm definitely a last song guy more than a first song guy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, the listeners were with you on Forget Me, and Make Me a Mixtape as well, and Red and Blue Jeans. I'm just way behind here, and a picture postcard as well. All right. Still plenty of gameplay here. I'm gonna trot out something from Horse Latitudes here. I'm a sucker for horns. I never trusted the Russians.
I have it.
I don't.
Now, I could see why one might not, the horns definitely out of character, but I thought that the rest of the song, like the horns were a nice add to a Promise Ring song, as opposed to completely changing what the Promise Ring does, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll go with that. And it's a good title as well.
Yeah, it's just a great title. Absolutely. All right, John.
All right, let's go back to Nothing Feels Good and go with the title track, Nothing Feels Good. Any song that mentions Atlanta automatically gets onto my list.
I don't have it.
I have it.
All right.
All right.
And just like that, there's a conversation to be had, because last song got us out of NTP.
Sorry, East Texas Avenue.
And the listeners were with you guys on that one. Nothing Feels Good. All right. Move that there. And Ryan, I believe.
I'll go to I'll try Woodwater here. Become One Anything One Time.
I got it.
Yep.
Hey.
Ooh.
That was kind of the push for them to get. I think to get popular. I think they performed that song in Conan back then. I think you can probably find that performance
Really?
somewhere. But yeah,
Wow.
it's a great song.
It's one of the shining spots on that record, actually. Like, it's, if I could point to anybody to that record, it's like, that's the one you should go listen to.
Yeah, that chorus hook gets me every time. It's great.
Not only is it unanimous among the three of us, but the listeners had that one as well. So, all right. So that gives us 6 all the way through. Plenty of gameplay and 6 in a convo. All right. All right. How about, okay, I'll go back to Electric Pink, and I'll go with the title track, Electric Pink.
Nope, I just had the one.
Oh man, I was hoping you had it. Just crossed it out. I do not have it.
Okay. Well, the listeners were with me. They had that one.
Oh, it's a great song. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
That's all right. Now's the time for misses, because that second round of conversations can always be killer. All right, John.
all right, let's go back to the beginning again and do Everywhere in Denver.
I got it.
I do not.
All right, into the convo. Is that track 1 or?
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah. See, and again, it set a nice tone for me. Oh, this is what they do. Okay. Even though like it gets polished up, I think it's pretty indicative of the Promise Ring sound. So.
Yeah, they use a weird tuning on their guitars. We didn't mention that at the beginning, but I think it's like a C tuning or something. So if there are any guitar nerds out there, they probably know more than me. But if you look up C tuning on the guitar, I think that's what they use. It gives it kind of a different sound than you're used to hearing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
On the whole album or just that song?
I think their whole career, maybe up until the very end, probably Woodwater uses some different stuff. But all those early guitars are, I think, all tuned to C. Captain Jazz used that too.
Oh, all right. I see. I'm a simple man, and the craziest I get is drop D.
Well, I'm assuming he's meaning drop C tuning, kind of the same idea.
It's a completely different way, like to tune the. I mean, again, don't ask me to recite each string what they're tuned to, but if people look it up, it's a strange way. You get some weird sounds out of the guitar that way.
Just, I guess, not something I would have assumed. I would have assumed standard, but okay. All right, Ryan, I believe it is your turn, sir.
I'll stay on 30 Degrees, and I'll go with Fire Tower Flame.
Nope.
Nope.
That one was one of my later cuts, though. I had it until super late. All right. I am ticking down here. I think I got 7 left. And with that, let me trot out some more of my very emergency. How about emergency?
Yep.
Yep, I have it.
Hey. All right.
There's that was the single too. I think there's another Strange video for that one.
All right, so I got to check out some Promise Ring videos after this show. Go watch me some YouTube. Wow, guys, that gives us 7 all the way through. Okay. Pretty agreeable here. All right, John?
All right, let's stay on that album and do Skips a Beat Over You.
Yep.
Nope.
All right. Into the combo, though. And Ryan?
I'm gonna go with Pink Chimneys.
Nope.
I have it.
Okay. I'm trying to recall that one because I feel like it was on my radar.
Pink Chimneys in Maine.
Yeah, I think I might have had it until like it might have been made that first 29. I don't know why I'm trying to list it. Trying to figure out where I listed it. All right, I'm gonna trot out my last one from Woodwater just because it's staring me in the face. Suffer Never.
Yep, I got it.
Nope.
I feel like that one has the Promise Ring like attitude and feel, not necessarily the sound, but definitely attitude and feel. I think that's what got to me there. All right, so into the combo it goes though. Create and John.
All right. I've said this many times. Let's go back to the beginning. Go to Somebody's Done For.
Oh yeah.
Okay, nope, but Ryan's got it. Into the combo it goes. How do I keep missing the correct board? Into the combo. All right, that puts us 10 in the convo. Oof.
That's gonna be tough.
Especially there's already 7 in. So as it is, only 3 get to go. All right, Ryan, I'm down to my last 4. I don't know where you guys are at, but I only got 4 left.
I've got 3.
I think I have 5.
Okay.
Raspberry Rush.
Nope.
Nope. That was one of the last cuts on mine.
The listeners were with you on that one, though.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. I wonder if I should just play to miss at this point. Spare us some hurt. I'll just go... No, I'll go Horse Latitudes here. Watertown Plank.
Nope.
I don't have it.
Okay. All right. John.
No ice cream for naked persons.
All right, John.
All right. If there's going to be one that we're going to hit on at the end, it's probably going to be this one. Let's do Perfect Lines.
I got it.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. Called it.
Oh. Man, I am not looking forward to this convo. Things just got tight in here. All right, Ryan.
B is for Bethlehem.
Nope.
Nope. Again, one of the last. That was probably 22 or 23 on mine.
Yeah, that album was pretty close to impossible for me to cut down.
Yep.
Those middle ones, Nothing Feels Good, Very Emergency, like specifically those two, those were freaking top notch for me. All right, you know what? I only got 2 left. I'm just gonna bounce them off you guys, and we'll each clear out our list. How about Happy Hour?
Yep.
Nope.
Okay, and Saturday.
No.
Nope. That was a late cut for me.
Okay, so let me put that into the trash. All right.
Like we needed another one in the conversation.
I know, right?
Yeah, I got another one in there in the last second.
All right, so Happy Hour goes to the conversation. All right, John?
My last one is And You Will Sing.
Nope.
All right.
All right. And you want to clear out whatever you got left, Ryan?
Yeah. Jersey Shore, Make Me a Chevy, and Stop Playing Guitar.
Stop Playing Guitar was definitely one of my 29.
Another weird video. I think there's they make a heart-shaped guitar, and then a blind, slightly Asian woman plays it and gets like light beam shoot out of her eyes. It's very, very strange. But check out that one too.
All right, I got some stuff to watch. All right, well, guys, this was a solid first round, though. We got 8 all the way through here. A picture postcard, The Deep South, Is This Thing On, Why Did We Ever Meet, Make Me a Mixtape, Become One Anything One Time, Emergency, and Perfect Lines.
There's nothing wrong with that list
Already, and somehow we have to get 2 of these in. Red and Blue Jeans, Happy Hour, Living Around, Happiness Is All the Rage, Forget Me, I Never Trusted the Russians, Nothing Feels Good, Everywhere in Denver, Somebody's Done For, Skips a Beat Over You, Pink Chimneys, Suffer Never.
I mean, come on. That's tough.
I know, right? I will say I am looking at going ahead and cutting Suffer Never. I don't think it. I think Become One Anything One Time is accurate enough for Woodwater. Even though I think Suffer Never is more Promise Ring, I would much rather represent more stuff, more earlier stuff, because I think that would catch more people.
Okay.
Are you disagreeing, or?
I mean, I think we at this point, I think we pretty much we have to start cutting somewhere. So,
all right. So let's lose Suffer Never. I think it's a great tune, and I think it's remarkably on brand considering the rest of that album. But I would much rather see some of this earlier stuff go in. All right. So was there any that you were looking at that you're like, okay, we need that?
Well, we have a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of the bouncy, poppy, happier stuff on our list already. So the 2 that stick out to me, and I'm just starting a conversation here, be Nothing Feels Good and Forget Me.
Yeah, I was going to say my 2 ride or dies right now are Red and Blue Jeans and Forget Me. So okay. I'm with you on Forget Me.
So both of you guys say Forget Me. I was the odd man out. Let's go ahead and pop that one through. All right. Because I have no disagreement there at all. You know what? Let me do it this way instead of making more.
I mean, with that last one, I mean, God, Happiness Is All the Rage would be a good in the list. I Never Trusted the Russians is a different thing. Like you mentioned, that has the horns.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing Feels Good, I love. Skips a Beat Over You is great. Pink Chimneys is great.
Everywhere in Denver.
Like Red and Blue Jeans, like there's not a wrong answer.
Yeah, there's nothing I hate, but
yeah.
I guess what are you thinking, Justin?
All right, so I'm seeing a lot of Pink on this, and that means there's 4 songs from Nothing Feels Good already. Now, technically speaking, I'm not against putting a 5th one through, but I kind of want to put some Orange through from Very Emergency. And I'm immediately looking at Happiness Is All the Rage. It's so catchy. Like, as a 10th song specifically, I think that would be a good fit. If the idea is to pull somebody new in.
So if I was to take one off that album, it would be Happiness Is All the Rage, but I don't know. It's tough for me to say because Nothing Feels Good is pretty damn close to perfect. So cutting some of those songs definitely hurts. But
yeah,
like I said, Red and Blue Jeans is a quintessential Promise Ring song for me. But like you did mention, we do have almost half the album on there already.
Right, and I think we can at this point say, hey, that's why I made it a case to say, look, Nothing Feels Good and Very Emergency, both of those records, if you ask me, are must listen. And I think it's all of 20 songs, maybe 20, 22. It's not a lot. And their whole discography will not take you long to listen to, but listen to those 2 albums specifically. But to get the 10, I feel like Happiness Is All the Rage has the catchiness. Never Trusted the Russians has the horns. So like those are the 2 I'm looking at. Everywhere in Denver kind of on the background. So I don't know if anybody has something where they want to push it on through or...
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think Happiness Is All the Rage is gonna be that's gonna be the pick for me. I think it fits in best with this list, probably.
All right.
Now, what if I flip-flopped here and went with Nothing Feels Good? I had your back on that one.
Oh, it's I know it's so good, and it's a little slower.
Yeah, that would be my one thing. I mean, I feel like if you're going to dive into the Promise Ring, you're going to eventually find that slower stuff, but maybe the catchier,
and
more
Billy,
upbeat stuff.
Billy Ocean and the Ocean Floor line is so good.
Oh, yeah, I love that song.
But yeah, I think Happiness. I think I'm with Justin. Happiness Is All the Rage. I think
Yep.
is the one that sticks out for me.
I'm fine with it.
Looking at the whole thing together, I think that makes the most sense.
All right, so let's plop that through. And that gives us A Picture Postcard, The Deep South, Is This Thing On, Why Did We Ever Meet, Make Me a Mixtape, Become One, I Can Talk, Become One Anything One Time, Emergency, Perfect Lines, Forget Me, and Happiness Is All the Rage. That's a solid 10. That is a damn
I
good
agree.
10.
That's as close. I mean, Nothing Feels Good, Red and Blue Jeans, some other stuff from Nothing Feels Good excluded. That might be a list of their 10 best songs.
All right.
You guys did very well on this one.
All right, well, let's put your feet to the fire then, John. What's the one?
I can't pick. They're all like, can we put all of them together into one thing and do it? Like I can't pick.
Are you leaning?
Yeah, that's tough for me.
pass.
I guess I'd say I'd be curious to hear what Justin has for Ride or Die here, number one.
All right, so I think I want to go with, because again, as John was explaining it, and right before we started getting into actual gameplay, I changed it to my lead song. I think it sets a great tone, and it's one of the few times. Not one of the few times. It's one of the more direct times where it actually took me to a setting, and A Picture Postcard. Like it made me feel like I was somewhere, and it felt great.
Yeah.
I mean, I do love the song, but maybe some of that, the production is maybe a little more. It's not as up there as, say, like a Happiness Is All the Rage. That's sounds a little better. I don't know if you know what I'm saying there.
Man, I'm looking at Why Did Ever We Meet? Like it's so bouncy, and it's just the epitome, I think, of everything that's good about them. Now that I'm looking at it, I think Why Did Ever We Meet is my pick.
I'm not going to go against you.
I might.
Hey, all right. So are you leaning Happiness Is All the Rage then? Or
I mean,
elsewhere?
it could change, in 5 seconds from now.
But then, like, Make Me a Mixtape is like, yeah, it's not on one of their proper albums, but like, you can't listen to that song and not get into it, especially for people like, my age, our age, who remember making mixtapes.
I'll be with you, I guess, on Why Did Ever We Meet.
Yeah, I think
I'm fine with that.
Like I said, when we talked about that might be their best song.
well, and also
So would you say is their most is Picture Postcard probably their most well-known song, or one of their most popular earlier songs?
It's up there, yeah, for sure.
Oh, really?
I mean, they recorded it. It's on there twice. It's on 30 Degrees, and it's on.
Oh, you're right.
It was on that single.
It
which
was the
ended up
first
on the
song I
worst
heard by
iTunes.
them.
Yeah,
I know that.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that might have changed. That might have changed my pitch when we got to this point, but okay. All right. So I will back you guys up, and we will go with Why Did Ever We Meet as our number one with a bullet. And you guys, how does 2020 feel? Because this is the first episode of 2020. We're recording this in 2020, aren't we?
Well, as long as the world hasn't exploded, I think we're in good shape.
But you know what? I'm going to run this down one last time. Why did Ever We Meet our number one? A picture postcard. The Deep South. Is This Thing On? Make Me a Mixtape. Become One Anything One Time. Emergency, Emergency. Perfect Lines. Forget Me. Happiness Is All the Rage. And that's our 10 for The Promise Ring. And, I'd like you guys to make me a promise that maybe you'll consider going to patreon.com/ohhijustin for where one measly $1 you get literally everything I'm doing, including but not limited to Deprogrammed, Before the Rest of the World, all the other pods, After School Pod, Oh Hi Justin, all that stuff. These Ghouls demos are up there, and hopefully next month, maybe February-ish, who knows, These Ghouls album? Maybe? Ooh. Yeah, I know, right? I've been sitting on this damn album for 2 years. Like, the songs exist. There's 11 of them, and I want to start writing the next one, but, like, until I get this one the way it's supposed to sound, I don't want to get too far ahead on the second record. Anyways, I said way too much to say. It's only $1 a month, and it really does help me out a great deal. And having people on board I'm really, really appreciative of that. And we can do great things together, and let's do that $1 at a time. And John, you have like 70 different bands that at some point you will be on.
I was going to say, this is 5 weeks in a row. I hope people aren't sick of me. I apologize for if people are sick of my voice. But yeah, I mean, hopefully after a little break, I can come back in and be on again. Thank you so much. I got a lot more bands coming down the pike. So yeah, like I say every time, I love doing these. It's so much fun. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of it.
I think you probably still have like 15 panels and then like 20 bands sitting with, just.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So if you're out there, check out the Facebook page. And if you see one of the bands that my name's next to, definitely let Justin know, and we'll add it to the list.
But that's exactly how this happens. Both of you guys reached out and said, hey, I would like to, like, you guys aren't in neither of you live in state. Like, both of you guys are not in my circle of friends. You just reached out and said, hey, I'd like to talk about this band. That's how it happened. Now, this is a much better experience than Alice in Chains, I assume, Ryan.
Yeah, by far. Yeah, that was great. And I was just looking at the list. There's definitely a couple more I see that you posted on there that I'll definitely send you a message and hop on there.
Nice. And then we'll get all those squared away, and I'm sure there will be a John F. Sessions 2 some point later in the year.
Oh, last time we talked Mars Volta. We got to get working on that one.
Yes, we do. I think it's Peter. Is you and Peter on Mars Volta? I think we worked this out last time too. Somebody else hopped on Mars Volta, so we'll put that one together some point in the year. But either way, gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining me. And with that, the Promised Land. I swear to God. I don't know what's going on with me. The Promise Ring. Learn them and love them, people. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.